Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Podmas. Tonight, we finish the journey. I'm your host, Mark, your fat friend, and this is day 24, the final night of Podmas. 24 days, 24 bottles, 24 intentional pauses in a season that rarely gives us permission to stop. This series was never about just the wine. It was about choosing presence, about curiosity, about carving out space, even briefly, to notice where we are. And before we open the final bottle, we're going to look back because endings only matter when we honor what came before them. Day one was l'Artiste, a French red wine from France. We began with creativity and expression, a reminder that intention belongs everywhere, even in the smallest rituals. Day two was El Campeon, a Spanish red wine from Spain, bold, structured, resilient, a wine about strength and standing your ground. Day three was Champs de Foin, a French white wine. It was quiet countryside energy that subtly had a form of confidence. Day four was Sheep Station, a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Wide open spaces, agriculture, and freshness shaped by land and sky. Day five, Concentric Circles, a red wine from Australia, which brought perspective and connection, everything moving outward and eventually returning. Day six was a seaworthy tale, which was a white wine from Hungary's Pannon region, history shaped by water, trade, and movement. Day seven was Queen's Gambit, a French Chardonnay, patience, strategy, knowing when to move and when to wait. Day eight was The Conductor, a French white wine, harmony and balance, every element in its place. Day nine was a change of pace, a Ryoko, a Junmai style sake from the Nagata prefecture of Japan. Precision, respect, and tradition, measured, intentional, and calm. Day 10, Vin 23, a Côtes de Rhode red blend from France. Bold blending and timeless structure. Day 11 brought us Journey Update Night. No bottle, just reflection, a reminder that pauses matter too. Day 12, Blue Serena, a white blend from Greece. Wine as legacy, thousands of years in every glass. Day 13 was Basciato dal Sol, an Italian red wine from, of course, Italy. Warmth, balance, and tradition meeting the present. Day 14, Latitude 44, Pinot Noir from France. Latitude shaping elegance and restraint. Day 15 was Flutter, a rosé from Aude IGP, France. Lightness without losing intention. Day 16, Starlight Wonder, a Chenin Blanc from South Africa's Western Cape. Versatility and rediscovery. Day 17, Cielo de Oro, a Carmenere from Chile's Central Valley, a grape that finally found its true home. Day 18, Aralina, a Pinot Grigio from Delle Venezia DOC, Italy. Balance achieved through collaboration. Day 19, Mendoza Nights, a Malbec from Mendoza, Argentina. Altitude, intensity, and restraint shaped by the Andes. Day 20, Meadow Moon, a Riesling from Germany. Precision, minerality, and patience. And honestly, out of this whole box, might have been my favorite. I very much enjoyed it. Day 21, Brio Solar, a Grenache from Spain. Warmth, joy, and wine made for shared tables. Day 22, Maison de Lac, a Sauvignon Blanc from Bordeaux, France. Freshness, clarity, and classic white wine tradition. And of course, last night, Day 23, Once Upon a Time, a chocolate-infused red from France. Indulgent permission, stillness before the end. Pause. Let it breathe. Well, 24 wines, more than a dozen countries, centuries, millennia of history. But Podmas was never about memorizing grapes or regions. It was about showing up, choosing once a day to slow down, to listen, to learn, to let something ordinary become meaningful. And now we arrive at our final bottle. Tonight's wine is Ciel Bleu, Blue Sky, a French Sparkling Brut. A wine chosen not because it's flashy, but because it's fitting, elegant, crisp, balanced. This is the kind of wine open not just at celebrations, but at arrivals. French sparkling wine, they trace their roots back to the Champagne region, with records of sparkling wines appearing as early as the 16th century. The refinement of this tradition and the methodology is from the 17th century, and it's often associated with Dom Pérignon, transformed sparkling wine from accident to art. Sparkling Brut emerged as the style that best reflected restraint and balance, dry, lively, and precise. Ciel Bleu follows that philosophy, less about excess, more about clarity. Well, here she is. It's time to open her up. This has been quite the trek for me. I mentioned early on in this series that I'm not against wine. I'll drink wine, when I'm at an event and it's there. But wine has never been something that I have gone out of my way to necessarily enjoy. And I will say this box, this experience of going through this process has really, I guess, opened up my eyes to wine conceptually, and um, I I would say I enjoyed the vast majority of the wines that were in this uh, box. There were a handful that I felt were not amazing, but I don't think I had any that were bad. I had a few that I was like, "Oh, this isn't for me." I'll be honest. Last night's wine, um, the red chocolate infused, um, it wasn't bad. It wasn't for me. I could see why some people probably really get down with dessert wines. I did notice there were no ports in this box, um, but I felt like it was a little too much. But let's talk about what we've got tonight. So, what we should expect. Nice. On the nose, fresh butter and cake, subtle, elegant, and inviting. And right away, I'm going to tell you, I don't have a champagne flute, and I didn't feel like doing it in a wine glass. I felt like lowbrow in it tonight, so got a nice little glass. Um, on the palate, crisp and harmonious, bright acidity lifts the wine, while gentle richness adds depth. Texture, fine, energetic bubbles elevate rather than overwhelm. Finish, clean, refreshing, and complete. Plenty of bubbles. So that's sparkling. Let's see how she smells. Definitely butter. I see what they mean about I assume white cake. It's not robust. It's not overwhelming. It's just very subtle in there. The acid hits right away, middle of the tongue. It definitely is crisp. It's very refreshing. There is a richness there, absolutely. Maybe it's that butter smell, kind of like pulling into your mouth. The energetic bubbles elevate rather than overwhelm. I would agree. My mouth kind of feels a little invigorating. It's good. It's very good. A wine that feels like resolution. Well, this brings us to our final reflection time. Advent is a season of waiting, not passive waiting, but hopeful waiting. The kind that believes light is coming, even when the days are short. Sparkling wine is opened at moments of arrival. Not because everything is perfect, but because something meaningful has been reached. So, tonight's reflection is this: what light did you notice because you slowed down? What gratitude emerged when you paused long enough to see it? Faith doesn't always speak loudly. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like breath, like clarity, like a clear sky, like a clear sky. Ciel Bleu, blue sky. A reminder that openness itself can be a gift. So, now, wherever you are, please raise your glass to curiosity, to patience, to presence, to finishing something you started. This is Podmas Day 24. This is Ciel Bleu. And this is not just the end, but a beginning. Cheers and happy Podmas.